Yesterday, Cardano took the first steps of scaling in 2022, and in today's video, we're going to go over the results so far. So if you didn't already know it, yesterday marked a pretty important step for Cardano in taking the first steps of scaling in 2022. This was introduced with the parameter change to increase the script memory for Plutus scripts, which essentially is Cardano smart contracts, and this in turn would increase throughput. However, it's been a little while and it's kind of hard to tell, but it appears that the throughput and the congestion still is here. Now, that being said, there's a few things to keep in mind. There are things that are congested previously from the up in scaling that need to get through still, and it's not a one size fits all fix. There's going to have to be a lot more things put out to fix the overall scaling issue that we're having right now with everything launching on mainnet. So this upgrade in parameters was not a block size increase. It doesn't necessarily allow for more transactions to be included in a block, but it does optimize smart contracts, which right now are a very large portion, if I can go to it here, of the network volume. You could see 45% of transactions right now on the Cardano network. So the majority compared to the other types of transactions are smart contract transactions, which means we have a long ways to go before we have scaled fully to compensate for this volume, as the more smart contracts, the more memory taken, and the more optimizations needed to combat the offload or the onload of all the smart contracts coming into the system. All of this, while Cardano does remain pretty much the most decentralized blockchain out there. Bitcoin is decentralized to a point, but Cardano does this in a very unique way, and that's something to keep in mind, that anyone can run a node for Cardano on a Raspberry Pi. And also there's over 3,000 active pools up right now. Not all of them are minting blocks. It's not a perfect system, but we've gotten pretty far, and it's something to think about when we do think about these scaling issues that are just a short-term pain. As I mentioned yesterday, following this change, they're going to closely monitor and assess the network response from the change over the next 5 days, and then determine future adjustments in scaling. Although smart contracts are causing a lot of congestion, if you go ahead and put a normal transaction through, you'll probably have a much easier time, as you're not interacting with a smart contract, and it's a lot more likely to get through onto a block. As I've mentioned about 5 other videos, this is a small growing pain of Cardano. I don't think in the long term it really matters, and I am excited to see how this scales. Yes, it can be frustrating at times when the blockchain is at 94-95% load, which it has been for the past week, but I do think that the continuous scaling improvements and everything going to the network will compound on top of one another, and eventually we'll be back to where we were before, where there's not really any issues in throughput or finality. Also, something to mention, when you're going to the Sunday swap DEX, and if you're trading one of these top 2 pairs, Sunday, LQ, or World Mobile Token, these 3 are very backed up, and the scoops on them, or the time it takes to get them through transactions, swaps, providing liquidity, is going to take considerably longer because of all the people in queue waiting to get to their liquidity provided or their swap through. So keep that in mind when using Sunday swap. If you want to trade these other pairs, or you go to Muesli swap, you can have a lot more success in a shorter time frame. Taking a step back and looking over to the start of January, we had some, interesting days. Back when we were at 69 to 55% of the network capacity, and ever since around January 15th, we've been at 90+% network load consistently, and this is something to keep in mind. We have been at these high loads. We'll probably remain at these high loads for quite some time, but there was a day when we could send transactions through and no one else would bother us. And those days were also back when smart contracts took less than 10% of the total transaction types, and that just is not the case anymore. Also, in relation to Plutus scripts and the 11 ways Cardano is going to scale in 2022, I have mentioned this in my video, and this is mentioned here in the blog post, that there's going to be Plutus script references so you can associate transaction outputs, meaning you can record once for smart contract action and use it again. This frees up a ton of space as you can reuse scripts in multiple transactions, and that's going to be a huge improvement when it comes. And I don't think we are too far off of the Plutus script enhancements, as they clearly are one of the more important things needed to be implemented. One last important thing for this video is not really related to me as I'm in Canada, but indirectly it is, and that's a US bill coming through to pretty much put a stomp on crypto and financial transactions and your privacy rights altogether. And I'm going to leave this tweet linked down in the description so you can read the whole thread. But if you're interested in crypto staying in the US, please consider going to this tweet. It'll be the first tweet in the top of the video, and you can go ahead and read all of this and what this means for people inside the United States interacting with cryptocurrency. Anyways, that's it for the video today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great freaking day. It's been your friend Jack. Peace out.